Ever wondered how to surprise your opponent right from the very first moves? Today we're diving into the bishop's opening, a powerful and underrated weapon for white. The bishop's opening arises from the standard first moves pawn to e4 and pawn to e5. Then you play bishop to c4, which often takes your opponent out of their prepared opening lines, yet it remains a perfectly sound and classical setup. The most common response you'll encounter from black is knight to f6. This move develops black's knight and puts immediate pressure on the pawn on e4. There are a few good ways for white to handle this. One of the simplest is to play knight to c3, developing your own knight and reinforcing the center. If black then responds with bishop to c5, another natural developing move, you have an interesting option. Instead of playing the typical knight to f3, you can choose to play pawn to d3. This delays the development of your kingside knight, but for a good reason. When black continues with pawn to d6, you can now play pawn to f4. This move starts to build pressure on the kingside and gives you several promising options in the middle game. For example, once you castle kingside, your rook may support an open f-file, or you may push the f-pawn further to f5, gaining space and attacking chances. Overall, this setup leads to a flexible and aggressive middle game plan, offering excellent opportunities for launching a strong kingside attack. Later on, this setup starts to resemble an improved version of the king's gambit. You play pawn to f4, just like in the king's gambit. But in this case, it is not a sacrifice because your pawn on f4 is fully protected. That means black cannot simply capture it and gain an advantage. What makes this even more interesting is the hidden trap you're setting. After you play pawn to f4, which may look unusual since you haven't played knight to f3, the more traditional move, your opponent might think it's a mistake and try to punish you with knight to g4. Now, the bishop and the knight are coordinating an attack on the f2 square. This can look threatening. Either bishop takes f2, which checks the king, or later knight to f2, hitting the rook and putting pressure on the queen on d1. It seems unpleasant for white at first glance, but here comes your powerful reply. Pawn to f5. This move grabs more space on the king side and also shuts down black's idea. With the pawn on f5, you now block the diagonal of black's bishop, cutting off its support for the knight on g4. Suddenly the threat collapses, and you've gained time and space in return. So now, if black plays any random move, you can simply capture the knight on g4 with your bishop. Because of this, black is more or less forced to continue with knight to f2. At first glance, this looks fantastic for black. It's a fork. The knight attacks both your queen and rook. Black likely feels confident here, thinking they're on the verge of winning the game. But then, you respond with a brilliant move, queen to h5. Suddenly, out of nowhere, you begin an incredibly strong kingside attack. The threat is simple but deadly. Queen takes on f7, supported by your bishop on c4, that would be checkmate. However, black might think it's no problem. I'll just castle kingside, they assume, not realizing what's coming next. Now you continue with bishop to g5, bringing yet another piece into the attack and applying direct pressure to the black king's position. At this point, black is in trouble. Their queen is under attack, and they can't push the f-pawn to block or escape because that pawn is pinned. Moving it would expose the king, which is illegal according to the rules of chess. All of this happens fast, and from what looked like a strange setup, you've launched a devastating attack. At this point, black has no choice but to move their queen somewhere safe. Once they do, you continue increasing the pressure by bringing in more pieces, specifically by playing knight to d5. From this central square, your knight immediately threatens the pawn on c7, which would be a fork on the king and rook. But there's more. There's a hidden trap behind this move, one that most opponents won't notice. And even if they do see it, they'll find it nearly impossible to stop. Let's say black finally decides to capture your rook in the corner. At first glance, this seems like a win for them. But instead of taking the pawn on c7, which is tempting, you go for a much stronger and deadlier move, knight to f6, delivering check. This is a discovered attack on the black king, and at the same time, your knight is now supporting your queen to take the pawn on h7, a major threat. Black is forced to capture the knight. Then, you follow up with bishop takes f6, maintaining your attacking momentum. The plan is now crystal clear. You play queen to g5, delivering check, and on the next move, it's queen to g7 checkmate. It's a beautiful and forcing sequence, and it all began with a setup that seemed calm and classical. Because you've built such strong domination on the king's side, there's simply nothing black can do to stop the attack. The checkmate is inevitable. It's a clear and convincing win for white, and the best part is, it's achieved with a setup that's both logical and risk-free. That's what makes this variation so powerful. Even if black doesn't fall for the trap, you still have a solid and comfortable position. But in practice, many players do fall for it. And when they do, the attack plays itself. Now, let's move on to trap number 2. What if someone decides to play the bishop's opening against you? Don't worry, we've got you covered. When they play the usual moves like bishop to c4 and knight to f6, one of the most aggressive ways for white is to play pawn to d4, putting immediate pressure on the center. From here, black might try to kick your knight away with pawn to f5. It looks like a strong move, but there's a powerful counterattack you need to know. Let's look at how black can respond to this push with pawn to d5, challenging white's center and freeing up space for black's pieces. This move basically solves black's problems by forcing white's bishop back and giving black room to develop comfortably. From here, the game can get very sharp. White might try to hold the center with pawn to f3, but black has a spectacular response with queen to h4 check, followed by a stunning pawn push to d3 that opens lines for black's bishop and knight, leading to a quick, beautiful checkmate in just 10 moves. It's an amazing example of how even natural, sensible moves can be met with deadly tactics if you know the right ideas. The next trap is really funny. Let's switch back to the white side. This one's a favorite of mine. After bishop to c4, if black plays knight to f6, white continues with knight to f3. One of the most played moves by black here is bishop to c5, which looks natural but is actually a blunder. It seems like a symmetrical position, but white can now capture the pawn on e5. If black castles or plays passively, white simply pushes pawn to d4, gaining strong central control and attacking the bishop on c5. Black's only chance to stay in the game is to recapture the pawn on e5, trying to copy white's moves. But here comes the surprise. White plays bishop takes f7, grabbing the pawn and exposing the black king for a powerful attack. Black's bishop has to move, and now white plays pawn to d4, attacking the bishop and closing the diagonal. White gets a winning position effortlessly. It's almost funny to call it a trap. Black just blindly copies moves and walks into trouble. White is up a pawn, has an exposed black king, and easy development. The king is exposed and bishop is under attack. Next move, white play queen to f3. Totally dominant position. Now going back, if instead black takes the pawn on a4, you play knight to c3, entering a reversed Stafford gambit. Black likely captures, you recapture with the pawn, and with the extra tempo, white gets a dangerous, crushing attack. With open lines and diagonals, white can quickly launch an attack, so black must be careful. The main threat is knight takes e5, so black often plays knight to c6 or pawn to d6. Both fail. White can either go knight to g5, threatening pawn on f7, or immediately play knight takes e5. If black recaptures, bishop takes f7 deflects the king, and after bishop to g5, the queen is lost. If black instead plays queen to e7, it looks like white's knight is pinned. But white plays knight takes e5 anyway, it's protected. After king moves, white castles. Now queen takes e5 is forced, and white plays rook to e1, targeting the queen and preparing rook to e8. After king to d7, queen to g4 followed by bishop to d5 leads to a forced mate. Queen takes b5, checkmate.